Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ehab Nour. I'm a pre-sales consultant at Tripwire. Today, our topic is simplifying your journey towards regulatory and compliance. Compliance is one of the hot topics. Every organization is seeking about compliance. Compliance has a different or have a different benefits for any organization. Compliance, if you seeking for the compliance, you are seeking for a certain level of security to implement on your IT infrastructure. Compliance means that's already that you have a certain kind of workflows and processes inside your organization, which shows that you already have the global standards. You're applying the global standards, and you have a certain level of quality of your organization. Compliance also it's help organizations to avoid any harmful consequences. So compliance it's one of the hot topics, and it's not just only one word. It's have different topics behind it. For example, the standards that you are following. For an example, the industrial standard like PCI DSS, ISO 271, CIS, NIST compliance, HIPAA compliance, and so on. So this is the industrial standards. What's the industrial standards you would to follow? What's the strategies that's behind these standards? So what strategy of your organization to implement this kind of standards? What's the requirements you need to implement this global standard? And also, there is one of the hot topics, which is the regulations. So you have also another regulations, or you have also regulations from your country. For an example, in Saudi Arabia, they have a regulation for an example like NCA, National Cybersecurity Authority. For an example, in Europe, they have another regulation, for example, like GDPR and something like this. So these are different regulations, regulatories. It's also is seeking for you that's to implement their policies and so on. So what's the risks also behind the compliance? What's the risks if I implement this kind of configuration, or if I make this kind of policies inside my organization? What's the laws internally, and what's the laws in our country? So all of these topics, it's behind the compliance. But compliance, it's very hot topic. It's same like I said. It's already give you the ability to minimize the risk. And I will show you an example when Gartner sees uh, different the level of attacks. So they see that 80% of the attacks is commodity based, which means that there is a misconfiguration on your servers, and based on this misconfiguration, attacker can gain access and expose some information which is very commodity. Maybe we will not we didn't hear about this kind of attacks, but still this is the biggest portion. Target attacks, that's we hear about it like ransomware, Shamoon, and so on. It's just only 20%. And there is another threat which is called advanced threats, which is 0.01, which is I don't think it's happen here in the Middle East, because it's a very targeted attacks, and it's sophisticated techniques. It have very sophisticated techniques, and it's just only 0.01. So 80% it's a commodity based, and we need to think about this biggest portion of 80%. And based on this big percentage, and we would like just to go forward with the IT compliance challenges that organizations have, and what's the challenges behind the compliance? How can I implement compliance? What is the challenges I will have every day? So, for an example, different level of compliances. So, for an example, if you are following CIS or PCI DSS and so on, so you have a different regulations. Same we said before, like NCA, or one if you are one of the banking sector, Chapter, you are following also SAMA compliance, and you are following PCI DSS. How you deal with all of these compliance levels, and how you can deal with this, how you can do this. Sometimes that's organization found that these compliances maybe it will conflict with each other with some controls. So based on this, how can you deal with all of these, and how can you maintain your level of security and implement the ISO 271 with all of the controls and implement, for an example, NCA. So based on this, you have a different level of compliance and you need to seek to implement all of these compliances. All of these are multi-country organizations sometimes that's they have entities, in example in Europe or in US or in Middle East, different than Saudi Arabia. So all of these organizations or entities has a different regulations. For example, that's in Europe they have a GDPR or they have another regulations. It's found there. The US they have a federal compliance and different level of security levels they are seeking about, and also your headquarter in Saudi Arabia. So based on this, how can you implement your compliance and maintain your compliance against this organization or these entities? How you get information and knowledge from all of these entities to your headquarter and feed your security team that's already you are comply in this and you are comply in this, and you miss these configurations here and you miss these configurations here, and you need to put standards levels here, and you are 80% comply with in Europe and 60% or 70% in US versus internal or versus your headquarter. And based on this is a challenge for you to monitor all of these and get very useful information. And also, there is another challenge, which is a change in your systems, because situations like an example in 2020, we see that COVID-19 and this pandemic situation. So, for an example, that's regulators give the organizations that they need to implement some of the workflows. For COVID-19. For an example, NCA have a document for COVID-19, and this is a minimum controls need to be implemented. So this is kind of change in your policies, in your workflows based on the current situation you are working on. So based on this, this change requirements, it will put you in another pressure and put you in another way that you need to focus on. So for an example, in COVID-19, you are seeking about, or you have a controls to implement for remote workers and VPNs and so on. So based on this, you put the controls and configuration based on the current situation. So you focus on the in another compliances, or it's happened because it's have another situation, and you need to put your regulators on. You need to comply with your regulators. Also, the legacy systems organizations still they have legacy systems existing on their environment, and based on these legacy systems, still they have a challenge to implement the compliance, because sometimes the compliance controls need to be implemented in these legacy systems will affect the performance, will affect the durability of these systems. So based on this is one of the challenges also. And another challenge, which is the lack of resources. The lack of resources, I know that organizations, it's all organizations, it's have this kind of challenges. The lack of resources is always found, and when you think about this, I need to implement ISO 27, so I need to get a human capital and get a financial capital in order to get these certificates and and get all of the talented people to work on this, on the compliance, and implement this kind of controls. Centralized reporting, when you have a local entity and you have multiple or multi platforms like Windows, Linux, Solaris, AIX, network devices, and so on. All of these, it's have a different kind of configurations need to be implemented. Think about if you have this kind different level of operating systems and you need to get information about it, and you need to get the level of what's the level required to maintain the certificate or to implement these controls. And you need a centralized monitor to get in one dashboard what's the percentage level I am comply with all of these platforms. How many Windows, it's how many Windows percentage and how many Linux percentage. So for an example, in PCI DSS or ISO 27, I am 80% comply in the Windows platforms, 60% I am comply in Linux, 20% still I have a gap in my network devices, and so on. So if you have just only, also you have one entity. Think about if you have a multiple entities and you have branches in the MAM, you have branches in Jeddah, and so on. Based on this, it's have a different platforms, and you need to get information from all of these systems and get on your headquarters centralized reporting, get this information to you. So centralized reporting, it's one of the hottest topics, and you need to think about the centralized reporting. You need to get information solutions for this. We found that organizations sometimes that they have certain tools. It can monitor one of the operating systems, for an example, Windows, and so on. But this organization, they have the lack of centralized reporting. They don't have full visibility across their organization, across their branches, to give information about what's the percentage I have, what's the priorities I have right now or next month, because I don't have centralized report. I am just working in separated islands based on these kind of operating systems and so on. So based on this, I need to get information to put my prioritization, to put my human resources and focus in these operating systems and so on. And absolutely the time. Time is always is a factor in any equation, and when you think about or you need to implement the compliance, you need to think about the time. For an example, you get when I will comply with ISO 27, if it will take for me 1 year, 2 years, how I will maintain my certificates and so on. So the time, it's always found. It's always one of the important things. You need also to think about the time. And with Tripwire, we can help you for all of these challenges. How can we do this? Let's see Tripwire, the focused aspects, the three aspects that we are focusing on. The security. We are a company. Its focus is in the security. Security, it's one of or the main goal of the compliance, which is organizations need to implement. So we are focused on this security, and we are focused also with the compliance. So this is one of the core uh, values or core vision. Already we have the compliance and also the IT operations. So this levels of this or this aspects, three aspects, Tripwire can deal with this. So, for an example, if your security team is looking for or have goal to put the data confidential, okay, Tripwire can help this security team to maintain their goal. If the compliance team need to follow certain kind of standards, we Tripwire can help you on this. If you are IT operations you have a lack of resources, Tripwire can help you on this. How can we do this? Let's start our presentation with solution called the Tripwire Enterprise. The Tripwire Enterprise has four main components. We will speak today about these components and how can we help the organizations to maintain the compliance based on this software. So Tripwire Enterprise has a policy management, integrity management, inspection, and the forensics remediation and integration. Let's begin with our topic, which is the policy management. The point here, same like we said, the this software, it's have a library, it's with 1000 plus controls. For an example, ISO 271, NIST, SANS, DISA, NERC, COPIT. So all of the industrial standards is built in this software. So different level of or a multiple level of the compliances and the challenges that already we speak about it. In this software, you can get a one solution can give you full library of these compliances across the platforms, and we will give you more I will give you more detailed information about it. So based on this, you will get a library, and also it's this library, it's for free for your for our customers. So for an example, we not charge you per compliance. We don't tell you that if you need to comply with ISO 271, so you need to pay. If you need to apply for PCI DSS, you need to pay extra. No, all of these compliance is built in with this software. You can download these compliances and from your portal, and based on this you can scan and get information from this. And the point here behind this also about the response time in your compliance. The point here is that if you are just maintaining a tool to get information about your compliance, about just only PCI DSS, you will find yourself that's already you are in the sine wave curve. Why? Because same like we said before, that there is a changes happening in your organization. For an example, that already we said that's the COVID-19. So based on this, you change your information systems, you change your data, and you change your security controls based on the new regulations. And based on this, you was seeking, or you was maintained certain level of controls you already achieved, and based on this you down again because there is a changes. Maybe the changes it's not related to pandemic situation or COVID-19. Maybe it's changes regarding to the users. You already have, for example, administrators. Maybe they change some controls in your systems. Based on this, you are down again for the compliance, and you get a lack again from your benchmarks. Why is this? Because sometimes that's your servers, and not sometimes, usually it's your servers, it's in production. So there is maybe there is a change due to, for an example, Windows update, for an example, Linux update, for an example, implement security control and so on. So based on this, you close this or closed some gaps and open another gaps. So based on this, Tripwire can help you on this. How can we do this? Because we understand the drifting, and we understand the changes happening on your organization. Based on the integrity monitoring, it's already built in this software, can help you to maintain this kind of levels, can help you to understand that changes need to be required and what's happening on your servers if when you apply the COVID-19 changes on your servers. What happens? What exactly the changes? So it's very easy for you. Once it's finished, once it's done, you can roll back. You can go to the administrator and said, why you do this? You need to this kind of change. It's not accepted. This kind of change. It's not good. So based on this kind of changes, you will get this solution to understand and give you more visibility about the changes versus the compliance. And this is a very important to you. Also, with IT operations and the lack of resources, you have a solution to give you full remediation steps and to get information and send reports to your IT operations. This is the reports, and this is the steps you need to have to apply this control and apply this configuration. So for an example here, when you see this is a user access management in ISO 271 or PCI, you will get full information details like put this remediation step by step, go to Microsoft Management Console, open this and make a GP update step by step. So in this is a very important, because you will get information about and help your organization to maintain and to apply these security controls in very easy way, which is very powerful. Also, Tripwire can give you the ability in this part to get or to get this information from your team and apply it in the Tripwire. So in Tripwire, you can, for an example, you can apply scripts. You can push the scripts to your servers, which is very easy. So also gonna help for this, because applying patches, it's not an easy way. It's not an easy task. And organizations thinking about how I will patch this system. Tripwire also can help you. It says Tripwire can help you to patch your operating system using our software. But in this case, you need to build your scripts and push it through Tripwire agents. So this is kind of also help we can give the customers if they have a lack of resources and lack of financial capitals. This just only one software can help you on this. Another point, this is actual values. Auditors, when it came to your organization, asking you, give me the current configuration. Also, another example, when the administrators came to your office and or the management came to your office, they will tell you that's maybe that's you need to implement this compliance and give me the actual values. You will find it. Give me report that's already, and tell me that's already you applied the right control. So based on the actual values in our reports, we can give you that we already see that this actual value found there. This actual value it's found there. This actual value is found there. So based on this, you will get information about full detailed information about your configuration, about the actual values in the servers, which is give you very enhanced reports to send it to the auditor and send it to your management and send it to IT operations, that guys, I have these actual values. Can you please refine and be sure that these actual values are already patched. This server's already patched, because maybe I already scanned this servers and I found different values than the IT operations that they told me. So based on the actual values, you can differentiate between the IT operations words that's already we are comply and the actual values. You can send these reports to the auditors. So this is one of the good things already you have. And also creating your own standard and editing your policies. Sometimes we found that organizations have their own standard. They don't have their or follow global policies or global standards like ISO 27. They have a mix between these compliances or these policies. So for an example, they follow CIS and they follow NIST compliance, and they are following ISO 27. They get a copy from all of these standards and create their own standard. Why to create your own standard? Sometimes organizations need to apply just only the best practices. So they will get some controls from this, get controls from this, get controls from this. Sometimes that's organizations have a multiple different level of compliances. Same or already we said before, you have an ISO 271 already applied, or you have a PCI DSS, and you have a SAMA compliance, and you have NCA. So you need to create one standard called your organization standard, and you get the policies from there, policies from there, policies from there, and put it together in Tripwire to apply a certain level of reports to all of these parts. And based on this, you can edit the standard. So, for an example, sometimes this conflict between these regulations and the global standard, okay, maybe you will find it. In Tripwire also, you can edit the compliance controls. How can you do this? It's very simple. No need to do scripting. No need to ask for Tripwire professional service. No need for this because it's very easy. Just you will click on the any control and you can find it in very easy way and just like the example we said here, maximum password age between 0 and 40. So you can make it from 0 to 20 for our 10 to 13, something like this. You can edit any compliance. It's a very easy way. And based on this, you can have a full view of your compliance based on the creating your own standard based on the multiple regulations and multiple standards you are follow, and you already edit all of these. So you based on your internal organizations and laws and so on, you put and focus on these standard controls and you edit them. Maybe you delete them. You delete some of these controls. So based on this, we can also help the organization to avoid this challenge because this is one of biggest challenges that to edit or to comply with all of these standards and regulations. Also, to get a centralized monitoring from all of your systems, Tripwire is is saying with you to give you full ability to get the full visibility and centralized reporting. So based on this, Tripwire can give you information and send this policy scores and recommendations and remediation, all of these parts to your existing SIM solution. And it's just not only ArcSight, we can integrate with any SIM solution. So already you have, for an example, logarithm, for an example, Splunk, for algorithm, for an example, manage engine, all of these, it's already can we can send our logs to it. And this kind of information, we can help you not just only send the information through syslog. We can also even filter the level of the compliance scores and the level of the inputs already we have. Sometimes that's you need to just get the critical controls on your compliance and send it to your same solution. Not all the control. You need just to get the failed tests. You need just getting the high score numbers. Give me or send the data of the biggest score numbers policy controls. Yeah, I will send it. Give us this the threat level of these machines. Yes, give me send reports about the changes or about the compliance score between 60 to 80. This is kind of filtering we can give you to send it to your SIM solution. So centralized monitoring is always a tripwire focus to give you ability to centralize all of these parts. So this is also it's help organization in their journey to their compliance. And Tripwire, it's in this software. It's just not only compliance. It's also have a different modules, and 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 this part. But before we go this, let's speak with also example. I will show you an example with this. Let's talk about the NCA. Let's talk about NCA before we go to the file integrity monitoring. So organizations, for an example, seeking about to go for NCA, and NCA is National Cybersecurity Authority have different papers or different controls they already published. For an example, essential cybersecurity controls. Tripwire in this can help organization on this. So if you are following NCA and you are following ISO 27, ISO 271, and you are following CIS, for example, now you can know how can you deal with editing and creating your own standards. Now, I will show you an example about the NCA and how we deal with the NCA. This is a good practices. And we will see that in NCA, for example, in module 2.3, information system and information processing facilities protection. And this we will give you an example with 2.3.3 and 2.3.3.2. Restrict use and secure handling of external storage media. Yes. So NCA is sending this information to organization to get this information to be done. How can you restrict use and secure handling of your external storage media? Tripwire can help you on this. How can it help you in this? Simply, we convert this kind of information to control policies. For an example, turn off autoplay of this. So here in this, you will see in the report, same section, same like we said, 2.3.3, 2.3.2, and dot one. This is number one. Turn off the autoplay of non-volume devices. You will find the summary of this, and you will find the remediation steps. So you can scan your servers, you can get this information, okay, based on this, and you can send this report to your IT operation. Guys, we need to implement this. And when the auditor came to you and asking you how you are dealing with this control, you will tell him that I have certain levels I applied. For an example, I am turning off the autoplay. Another one, I have default behavior of autorun. I am not executing any autorun commands. So based on this, you can generate a report for NCA specifically. You can tell him that's yes, this is already my servers. This is a percentage already I have. This is policies that already I am applying on, and send these reports to your IT operations. And this is the actual values I already found it on my servers. So it's a very nice to get this kind of information. Another example here, or another part here, for don't automatically play all drivers. So you have different levels. You are not just only implementing one or two levels. You have a different levels. So based on these different levels, you will get information to secure all the secure handling of here, restrict use and secure handling of your external storage media. So this is one of the good parts. Another example I will show you here is this in the NCA, which is module number 2, identity and access management, user authentication based on username and password. Okay, so this is one of the generic topic, but you in Tripwire, it's have a lot of controls need to be implemented to make the user authentication based on the username and password. For an example here, the terminal services, okay, and you need to make all the terminal services open with the password. Okay, so all of the terminal services that you already have, like a remote desktop, like SSH, an example, and so on, all of these ports need to be prompted with a password. And also you need to implement the password when computer wakes up on battery, for an example. So we can guide you and tell you that yes, you need to implement this kind of controls. Also, the minimum password age, you need to implement the minimum password age is greater than or equal to 1 day. This is an example. Minimum password length is equal to 14 characters. So when the auditor came to you and he will asking you, how can you deal with the user authentication based on username and password? You will tell him starting from 2.3.2, 2.2.3.1.2 to the 17, I have different level of controls I already implemented. I have a reports that show that I have more than 19 or 17 controls give you full information about how I am dealing with this. So this is a good, this is very good, very nice. And also all of these controls, again, it can be editable. It can be help for you to send it to your organization, IT operations. It's very customized when you get this report and can customize to send it to your SIM solution. Not just all send all the information. Yeah, just give me the fail, give me the score numbers, send me all of this to your SIM solution. So we give you to help you ability to avoid the challenges of the compliance. This is this is very powerful to get all of this information in one software. And again, Tripwire Enterprise, it's not just only compliance or the policy. It have modules with the integrity management. Integrity management, maybe organizations hear about the integrity management before, and here I would like to summarize the integrity management already, the capability already that Tripwire we have. And the integrity, it's also the part of the compliance. Remember the slides already we talk about in the sine wave and so on. We told you that we understand the drifting between the changes happening and the compliance, right? So compliance, it just not only get me these reports, send me this information, send me this data, and that's it. No, compliance, it's based, and when you're seeking about the compliance, you seek about the changes behind the compliance happen on your servers, and just changes affect your compliance. And the Tripwire is the only solution built in, give you these two modules, okay, inside in one software. Okay, so sometimes organization found that yes, I have my own tool to send me reports about the compliance, the percentages of the compliance. Okay, that's fine. But when someone has been changed this file and it's not approved, it's unknown change. Okay, how can you know that this person or what's the change affect your compliance? So it shows in your tool that you are comply, you are not comply. You are comply, you are not comply. Why I am not comply? Because there is someone, he changed something. Maybe there is a malware. Maybe there is not approved change, unauthorized change. So based on this, in this integrity monitoring solution can filter all of these part of changes to help you in the journey of the compliance. How can we do this? And what's the capabilities of the changes Tripwire can have? Example, here, the changes happen in your critical servers, happen in the folders, happen in the critical folders. And when we talk about folders and files, we talk about the critical ones. When we talk about files, we talk about the critical ones. So for an example, the hosts file in the Windows, the system32 slash XYZ DLL file. This kind of files, this is a very, very critical folders to you, and you need to monitor because it will affect your compliance. Maybe it will affect your security also. So for an example, changing ownership from file from one to one, maybe it affect the compliance, or maybe it affects the security controls. For an example, if you give someone the ownership, maybe this user, okay, delegated another users or give another users permissions, which is not supposed to be. Changing in the content of the files, not just only the permissions or the metadata of the file, okay, it's also about the content of the files. So for example, there is some records has been deleted. For an example, record number 3, you see that record number 3 has been deleted, there is a modifications has been appeared in the file and so on. So based on this, you can get full information about the changes. You can now understand, yes, this modification by this user, because in the last screenshot you will find the full information about who done this. So you will get, this is a TE administrator, This is a Tripwire slash or your domain slash Muhammad, Ahmed, and so on. He access this folder, he write, and he change this information. So again, when you think about the compliance, it's always like changes. It's always like changes in the configurations. The pandemic situation, the IT operations, the production servers, it's always there is a change on it. How can you monitor these changes versus your compliance, versus your journey that we already started? Yes, this software can help you on this, can give you this information and give you this kind of changes. Another example here, this is the registry keys. Changing the registry keys, maybe it affects the security. Here, for an example, the event log. So you will find the element here found, and this is a user has been changed this. So based on these critical elements, Tripwire give you information about who done this and what exactly the content has been changed. So this is one of the powerful. So you will ask me. We got a lot of questions before. Did you monitor all of the Windows registry keys? No. Did you monitor all the files? No. We're not supposed to monitor all these files, all of the files, because it's have a millions of changes. We give the customer ability to scan the critical systems, the critical folders, the critical registry keys. Based on this, you can customize, you can add your own keys, you can delete one of the keys we already have, and so on. Based on the customization and the rules already, we give you critical system rules. Okay, we give you ability to monitor all of these changes and give you the control to edit these keys and so on and folders and so on. So this is also one of the good parts. So the compliance, it's always getting again changes. Maybe it may be changing the same thing like the event log, Windows firewall. It's turned off. So we will get information if someone has turned off the firewall, for an example, or the event log. You will get information who done this, okay, and when this happening, and when you generate a report from the compliance, they will tell you that you are failing with compliance in firewall because firewall need to be open, for an example. Event log need to be always start. Now you get information. Yes, this user Vader is closed this at this time, which affects my compliance. So right now you will go to this user Vader and you will ask him why you do this, why you change this. Okay. Another example, which is in the local policies. Here in the local policies, you can monitor the local policies in the Windows. We can give you information about, yes, this kind of policies has been turned off, which was successfully auditable. Now there is no auditing on it. So based on this kind of differentiation, now you will see that yes, I am comply and this standard. I am under the percentage high in this server because I am not applying local policies. This is it. It's not just only Windows. We give yes, I gave you example in the Windows, but it's already have in another part which is the Linux devices. And Linux devices, it's also it's one of the parts very important to you because when you're seeking for the compliance, you seek about the compliance in the Linux, the Solaris, the AIX, the Windows devices. All of this you are seeking compliance on. So we can give you ability also to get the Linux binaries, and we can scan your Linux devices. Based on this, you can see this. Yes, this folder has been added, and this user has been access this folder, get this information, edit this, and what's the content? Yes, this is the content. Yes, so all of these parts will see, and when you see this slide, and you would see that's already the kind of rules already we give to our customers. So for an example, in the file system, you will see that yes, critical administrative binaries, critical configuration files, development binaries, initiation scripts. So This is good to give the customer this kind of rules to monitor your critical infrastructure and critical databases and so on. So this is good. This is good to get this kind of information and represented in one platform. Again, when you reverse back to the first slide about the challenges, you will get centralized reporting, right? So centralized reporting, it's important when you have same like we said before, already you have a different platforms, Windows, Linux, network devices, Solaris. Yes, all of these parts need to be integrated in one dashboard. How can we do this? Tripwire Enterprise can help you on this, can scan all of these servers, can scan all of these ports, can help you to get information about the drifting and so on. It's not just only Linux device, it's maybe have a databases. So databases also, it's one of the important topics. Yes, because maybe you need to apply the compliance on it. Maybe you need to secure your databases through the file integrity monitoring. How can you do this? Because Tripwire can give you also ability to monitor the changes happening in the schema objects, in the database objects, in the security objects, in the access settings. All of these parts across Oracle or SQL or IBM DB2 give the customers ability to show the differentiation between the old configuration and the new configuration. Okay, so for an example here, there is a small example. I have created a user, okay, called test user. I grant this user to access the master database. Okay, so in this example, if it's happened in one of production servers, absolutely it will be a problem because this user it's not supposed to access this database. Okay, so you will need to get information. Who done this? So the SA who gets this, who done this, who he access in this time, and he create a login. So again, the differentiation of this, it will help you. Maybe the change in the directories, the database directories, and database directories in the, for an example, in the Windows on the Oracle Linux machine, it reflects the configuration of the database. So maybe you will lose the compliance or you lose control, okay, or you lose the security when someone changes these directories. And malwares do this kind of harmful things. They are changing the directories in the database, okay? And based on this, you will get information, wrong information. You maybe the application itself, it's have an impact. The columns, maybe it impacts the security configuration, maybe it impact because you are changing the system directories, which is very important. So based on this, Tripwire can help you on this with the file integrity monitoring with the compliance. So we have also the compliance here to monitor your database, the configuration of the database and the server itself. We can give you, yes, this server, it's Oracle Linux machine or the Windows 2012. That's already that's already hosting your database. It's have this kind of problems. It's have different this kind of challenges in the compliance, and you need to implement these secure configurations to secure your database. So based on this, you will get information. Yes, I need to go do this in my database servers. I need to implement this kind of controls. Yes, help me to do this. And also another example with Active Directory. Now, Active Directory, it's also one of the hot parts in the changes and compliance. And the configuration, how can you deal with the configuration? Okay, and you don't know who changed this configuration in your Active Directory. So for an example, this someone has been resigned. Someone now has been delegated to one of the groups. How can you know, yes, this person has been delegated to this machine or has been granted to be access to this group? So example, Ehab now it's became one of administrator groups from financial group, and this group has a different privileges. How can you monitor this? How can you monitor the change on the user's level? For an example, I am a user who have this kind of privileges, and someone give me this kind of privileges. Someone is resetting my password. Someone is changing my information. Okay, so based on this kind of information we can give you in the file integrity monitoring, you can understand more about the changes on your Active Directory for users and groups, for FISMO rules, for the sites, Active Directory sites, and so on. And we will give you full information who done this change, when this change happening, what exactly happened on your groups, what exactly happened in your users, and so on. And also another example for the policies or the local policies or the group policy already you have, we can give you information about the changes in the group policy. So this kind of information we will give you the customer for file integrity monitoring. And this kind of information, it's very important when you apply also compliance, because there is a compliance for Active Directory and for security configuration of the Active Directory is called DISA compliance and so on. So this kind of configurations need to be implemented in your servers. So it's very important to get the combination between the file integrity monitoring and the changes and remediations and send this to your auditor and view the reports in one software, in one platform. What about the network devices? Yes, here in the network devices, we can also help you with the compliance and the file integrity monitoring. We can understand what exactly the changes happening in your network devices. Yes, this kind of information we can give you. Yes, this interface has been added. This interface has been removed. This route has been added, and so on. Exact configuration. This kind of information, no, this kind of information, it will gonna be sent to your SIM solution, because as your SIM solution have, maybe it have just only who access your network device, who this item has been changed, but the SIM solution doesn't have actual configuration like this. Yes, this route has been added, this interface has been added or removed. Yes, so we gonna correlate all of these changes and send it to your SIM solution through our app. Already we speak about it's called Event Sender. And based on this, you can also send this information and get a compliance in top of it. So if you have network devices, like example Cisco and so on, we can apply compliance ISO 271 and so on, and we can give you information about what's the missing configuration about it. I'm just giving an example. Sometimes customers have another products like Palo Alto firewalls. We can do this kind of integrations. We can do a file integrity monitoring. We can do a compliance. But just note in the compliance, sometimes that's already, we give the customer already by default the compliance, okay, because it's already built in our software. Sometimes we tell them that give us the controls you need to be implemented. Okay, so based on this, we can build these controls for you. Okay, and this is a very helpful. Why? Because maybe you have internal policies and your internal laws. Okay, and you need to apply different standards. I'm not talking about network devices, by the way. I'm talking about generally in all of our platforms that we are supported. So sometimes organizations said, yes, we have done this, or we have this kind of list of controls need to be implemented on the servers. Okay, so based on this, I need from you to build this kind of controls for us. Tripwire can do this for you, can help you if you have a certain controls. Okay, and you can do a copy paste if your control based on global standard. Okay, so you can take from this global standard, for example, ISO 27, copy to you to your folder, which means, for an example, my internal organization standard, and you will put the policy tests grouping from getting from the global standards, put it in your servers, or put it, sorry, in your global standard, or my internal standard, and you will mention, yes, this control is here, and it can be edited. But if it's not in the global standard, you can ask Tripwire. I have this kind of controls. Sometimes customers, they asked us, guys, I have certain controls. I need to implement this kind of configuration. I need to scan this configuration. It's founded in the network devices or not. It's founded in my servers or not. It's not based on any global standard. I will give you an example. One of the customers asking us that's already have certain folders, and this folder have a certain permissions. Okay, which means that this folder, if it exists in these certain directories with this permissions and this metadata and this size and this file attributes, which means we are secured. Okay, so Tripwire helps the customer to build this kind of policy control. Okay, so based on this, we create a rule and create a policy for the customer to scan across your servers for these directories and these controls. Okay, and send the report, okay, to the customer. Yes, all of your servers except 3 or 4 servers has this folder. It doesn't have same attributes, does not exist, so you can monitor. Again, another example, one of the customers asking us, I have same solution, and I have a certain levels of logs need to be enabled across all of the servers, okay, and across all the network devices, okay, and this kind of logs I cannot monitor because I have thousands of servers, and I need to check, is this configuration or logs enabled or not. For an example, in the Windows, in my servers, that's I need to get sure that's already authentication logging is enabled, purpose or information like auditing 1, 2, 3, 4, it's enabled in the Windows. In the Linux, I need to monitor the SSH configurations. I need to monitor or to get information about logs of system binaries and so on. So all of these levels of logs need to be enabled in order to send useful information to my solution. We built these controls for this customer. Okay, we check, we get these attributes, we get this through the registry keys, get this information, okay, and Tripwire compliance scan the servers, scan the network devices. Is this enabled or not? Based on these categories, okay, we get this information, send it to the SIM solution, and also send it to the and make a report. Yes, this servers has missing this kind of logs need to be enabled on it, and these servers are fully implemented the audit logs on it. So based on this kind of information, the customer is very happy and satisfied because we built from scratch policy from them. Okay, and in the final slides, I would like to mention that Tripwire, an American company, and we not just only have one solution, it's Tripwire Enterprise. We have a different kind of solutions like uh, log management and change and malware detection. And we have a solution for vulnerability management. It's called Tripwire IP360. And we have a centralized dashboarding and reporting for all of our products called the Tripwire Connect. And Tripwire, it's an American company, and it's also acquired by a company called Belden. Belden, it's a very huge company, and it's have already a different level of products. And Tripwire also not just only focused in IT, focused in IT and OT. So based on this, you will get also Tripwire help you with the compliance and the file integrity monitoring through the IT and the OT. And here we are been in Saudi Arabia for more than 13 years with more than 92 customer satisfaction. This is the global statistics about our company, and we have more than one successful deployment. So if you need Tripwire team to contact you, just put an email, okay, or drop us an email, okay. You can find our contacts with the team of the expedition, and you will get information. We can send you information through our portal. You can connect us, and we can give you more information about our products if you are interested on. And I hope this presentation it's cover all of the the subject of simplifying your journey. And if you have any questions, just asked us. And thank you for attending this presentation. And looking forward if you have any questions or comments. And thank you again, and have a good day.